Welcome to the show. All things Bulldogs. Here we go, here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Blue and white pride. Bulldogs for life. Dogfather here. Gas by my side.
G'day, Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's our live review for round 4 of our loss to the Newcastle Knights. They played good. We played shit. End of show. See us later, guys. Have a good time. Go the Dogs. Is that okay?
That's it.
How you going, Gas?
Good, mate. Good. Could be better.
What did it look like at the game? Tell me about the resilience and toughness of our team and of our whole club yesterday. What did you think about our club? And the fans are included.
I was actually disappointed. I was disappointed.
I
was disappointed. The first sign of things going wrong and the sort of negativity was straight away felt all the way around. Like we're in the middle of the kennel and people's reactions were very disappointing. Everyone just expected, turn up, and see a big 30, 40-point win. So as soon as things weren't going their way, all you hear is players' names getting called out and just negative comments thrown around. It was just, especially when there was sort of not much noise going on, you can hear everything. It was not very good to see. Even when sort of Newcastle scored that sort of late try, the intercept went 12 in front. I even took a video of everyone streaming out of the game. That was disappointing to see. I mean, we were still a chance in the game. Like, you never leave a game until you that was just a show of, that's it. I can't take any more. It was just unfortunate the way the whole game went. Obviously you'll get into that and we'll talk about that. But from a crowd perspective, it was a very, very hot day as well. So for us on the kennel side, obviously we sit in the sun. For those sitting on the sort of where the player tunnel is, they sit in the shade. So the players were feeling it. They were tired, and we needed to be supporting them rather than sort of going after them. It wasn't your usual sort of game. The result could have still gone either way. Even though we played poorly, they were everything against us. We still had our chances to play and win that game. So people just need to. It's been a tough month with everything that's happened, and these results could happen. Any team can beat anyone. We've said that many times in our podcast, any team can beat anyone. We could have easily have lost our first 2 games if things hadn't, gone our way. And this game was a game that the Bulldogs were sort of hoping that they would just have to play solid, and Newcastle would have been rolling over for them. It was never going to happen. Everybody's hungry. Everybody wants to win. They were embarrassed last week. They wanted to fight back. They got their 5'8" back in the game, who's a strong 5'8", would get a start in a lot of teams. And, we paid the price. So you're just a little bit underdone in this NRL, and you can get caught out. So from a fan perspective, it was, still, a very lower crowd than what we were expecting. I would have expected at least 25, 30,000 on a Saturday. Obviously it is a Saturday, so even all things equal with regards to people working, etc., that would have been an expected crowd. But 20,500 was a pass, but nothing special. You know what I mean? Like we should have still had a few more people there as well. First home game, especially all the ones who couldn't go to Vegas. It was a good opportunity to come out and see your team. So hopefully, guys, we can make some amends on Friday, Good Friday. There's no excuses for work, hopefully, for the majority of us. Get out there, and we're going to need the support of everyone out there to take care of these Rabbitohs who are, have got a great team put together. So, that's what I think at the moment.
All right. I'll get stuck in a little bit. Look, guys, I said it. Said it in the preview. If you think we're going to go out there and just have everything click, Gus said it to start the season. This wasn't an excuse. This was an actual fundamental reality. And the fact that our boys went over to Vegas and they're now the hunted, you've got to understand that. So, and we don't help the way we carry on sometimes too, and all fans do it. But when you start to sort of, the Knights got it back from us. They humiliated us and they started doing stuff on the field and carrying on. We got that back, right, for the last 3 times. But they've all been hard-earned victories, even though they haven't scored any tries against us. Now, when I go over the whole overview of the game, I think there's definitely reasons that we are underdone and we are going to continue to improve. Our support play with our penetration and just the depth of how far our attack was, it just wasn't connected. It had nothing to do with the halves, to be honest. There was so much people were late to their assignments. People got fatigued out there. We've had big changes in temperature. The Knights played well, and all the weaknesses that Adam O'Brien knows that they've got, they worked on. Both sides attacked the left edges. Both sides did. They changed the point of things. And then kept, Bradman Best hardly got the ball on the left edge. And that was the same with Critter and Burton. When we got on a roll, we looked good. Max King, I believe he scores that try. Now, my mate watching the game with me doesn't believe he scored. At the end of the day, it was no try. But his left hand stays on that ball the whole time.
Correct.
Two hands on the ball, and his left hand was on it the whole time.
Correct.
These things matter. And then they got us, they executed their plays. We didn't. So the strategy on what we were doing wasn't wrong. When Curran got belted, they knew that was coming. I think it was actually funny. We played a similar play last year, except Sexton actually was the man taking the hit. And it sort of set him back a bit, stopped him running the footy. But Curran got his rib cartilage smashed. Now, he comes on after 25 minutes, or 23 minutes, after we're being basically defending for the last 15, 16 minutes and losing the battle, right? But hanging in there, down 6-0.
4-0.
Or down 4-0, yep. And what happens is Curran comes on to give us some of that energy and get the tackles done and help things going along. He's gone in 3 minutes. Salmon has to stay out there longer, working his absolute ass off. He got exposed in the middle. Harrison Graham, I've talked about this kid. You can go back and he's a great talent, a great hook. I actually hope the Dogs would have got him into the system. They probably had no intention of it, and it doesn't look like they did their homework on the kid, to be honest, because he is an absolute really good eyes up attacking footballer, knows when to run, doesn't run often, but when he does, it's always good and at the right time. And we'll get that from Bailey Hayward eventually. Anyone who thought that Bailey Hayward was just going to come out and be a top 3 hooker in the NRL because they want it to happen, it's not going to happen. He is a very good player. There was some great moments where he ran to the right and brought it back to the left through the middle. He did it play after play a couple of times. It was great, and we started to get a roll on, and things started to happen. The only things I'm disappointed in is it's round 3. These Galvin, for example, and Hayward and Burton and all these youngsters, they need these types of games. That's how it makes you as a footballer. Galvin got absolutely crunched on with and without the ball on about 20 times, right? Crunched. And the only thing I was disappointed in was the fact no one went out there and said, you don't fucking mess with our halfback. That's what I was pissed off with. Now, I'm telling you, that's the only thing where I'm critical of this side is that they didn't defend their halves. He still ran for 230 metres, probably touched the ball too much. But for me, there was just a struggle with timing. I think they were gassed early, pardon the pun. It's always a pun when we say gas now. Yeah, and look, you can look at it two ways. We had plenty of time between our games, so we should have been fresh. We're definitely fresh. Don't worry about that. But, Satili's starting to get things going because they've increased his minutes the last couple of games. When people sit there and hang shit on Sam Hughes and the 20 minutes that he's put in for the side in the first 2 games, his size, when he hits people, he hurts them. You might not think it happens, but he does. You're getting hit by that. It hurts. When he runs, when he does his 4 or 5 runs in that 20 minutes, it takes energy out of the defense. Now, Hit Boy tried his best. He's just not at that level yet with that size. So we're behind the 8 ball. We didn't have Harry Hayes as well, which hurt us. I know they're missing their spine, but a spine can't do anything without an effective forward pack. And when you've got 101 kilo, 6'1" former centre as your best middle for the day, there's going to be a consequence to that. And I'm sorry, but losing Curran after 3 minutes really put it in. Now, people probably say, well, why didn't we play Fletcher Baker? Because we're behind at that point. We're getting behind the 8 ball, and it's about trust. All right? So he's trusting his team. We didn't execute. They did. Then they got repeat sets. Even when they were down to 12 men, they played with the ball. It tired us out. We come back. We had a crack at it. The kid who ran 230 metres, threw the ball 80, 90 times and tried his heart out, got belted. Wasn't as effective as he could have been. He drops the ball twice. And what's everyone do? They just resort to slaying the 20-year-old, resort to slaying the young hooker. Reid Marnie should be here this year, but he didn't want to stay because he had an opportunity to leave and get more money and secure his future. That's why. Simple. Don't blame the club. Don't say, oh, we should have extended him for another 3 years, which is what he was wanting early, way before he was off contract. Don't blame the club for that. That's just business. That's just salary cap management. It's got nothing to do with the team. Bailey is there and he's doing his best. They give him a rest. And some of his stuff was really good. Some of it, it struggled a bit. He went the wrong way a couple of times. Went the right way a lot of times too. The Knights were just up to it. I just felt that Adam O'Brien would have given us all the weaknesses of his opposition and they were ready for it. And, and we had to resort to playing trying to make things happen. It's that's just the tail of the tape. That's what happened. We ended up wrestling back possession. We only had 43% possession in the first half. Okay. They beat us at our own game. It's as simple as that. And what people need to understand is the Bulldogs aren't a grand final contender right now. Right? As much as we want it to be and we hope it and believe it to be, the reality is they're not. What they are is a team that has a system that makes them very hard to beat. And yesterday that didn't work out for us. Okay? As Gus said at the start of the season, it was going to be tough. I think to even beat the Raiders in Canberra was a huge win. An absolute huge win. To beat the Dragons, who are getting closer and closer to us, and such a rivalry there, to hold them off again in a game where they never really threatened us either. All this talk about the attack after 3 rounds. It's like, well, do you want us to be better at the end or at the start? We've already banked some points. We're still up there. We've got a tough run. And I think the Dogs can be forgiven for maybe thinking a little bit ahead. It's human. It's natural. They can't be expected to go out there and beat every team. Like, tell me who backed the fucking Cowboys this week or backed the West Tigers this week? Tell me who backed them. I know I didn't tip them. Tell me who confidently went out there and said, these teams can't win. These teams are going to win. And it's easy for Bellamy to say, Bellamy just says nothing to the media. He goes, yeah, I am a little bit, when they ask you, he goes, yeah, I am a little bit disappointed. I am a little bit worried. He knows his system will get him so far. And they've had heaps of setbacks into the season. They've got reasons too. They've got excuses. What's it going to do? Why do people think that going out there and bagging individual players? Look, to be honest, the biggest issue I had was Serraldo giving the media narrative what they want by saying he had to move Burton. Like, okay. We trust. We move on. And he's still, this is what, his 3rd or 4th year as head coach? I'm telling you something now. This side's going to have about 7 or 8 different players in it by the time it's even close to competing with a team. And you have to understand, it's not just about beating a team when they have an off day. That's not excellence. You've got to build a side that can beat the best at its best. And until you do that, everything you do is a journey to get to that point. And sometimes that's going to mean you lose battles along the way. It's round 4. Why are we having to defend? I don't know. Fans can say and do what they want. In this community that we've built, it's about support. And you come to this podcast because you feel fucking... I'm watching that game screaming at the TV like a fool. I'm the same as everyone else. But when we come together, we should be just supporting the team. When you go behind by a couple of tries, you don't start walking out and bagging Galvin and saying you hate him. You stay and you cheer fucking louder. Now, I watched the Newcastle Knights do that for their team at their home ground when they got the wooden spoon 3 years in a row. That's what we got to do. People who want to think about this and talk about our club like they're a premiership contender and a threat to Penrith, that's all just for narrative talk because they know they are Bulldogs fans who just believe the hype and then go with it, right? It's all right to be sad and frustrated and have opinion. I am too. Critter was horrible yesterday in defence. Missed tackles. Him and Carraz didn't defend well together. And Preston was impacted off his knees, which fucked his lateral movement a little bit. He lost speed when he moved his hips, when he ran lines. That affected us big time. He hyperextended his knee. Now, maybe he should have went off and Curran should have come on. Maybe that would have been better for us. But that's all hogwash now. I don't even know if that happened before Curran or not. I can't even remember now. but it was in the first half. I think it was before Curran. I think he hyperextended his knee before Curran Gas. So
Yes.
these incidences matter for your best players. Preston is one of, whether we like it or not, he's one of our attacking threats, right? I felt Kickow looked a little bit off early. He had a bit of an injury early. I think they've needled him up at half time or done something, because his second half, he ran hard, straight, and got us on the front foot and turned momentum. And that's what we needed. And we looked good. We got on a roll. We got to within 4 points. Fatigue, we make an error. Now, the reason that Galvin drops that ball is because their defense was extremely good on that play. Right? They're all up in his face. They were they were in the line with our players way before. And that's why our guys did a few kicks in behind and stuff, because they were trying to tell them to piss off, to go back. They defended like the Bulldogs in a way, and it put us off. It was too much pressure to handle. We're only going to get better. You don't abandon your system after, like people saying to abandon everything. If you're chasing the game late, Birdo was grimacing after he scored points. He looked like he had an injury as well. I don't know what was going on there. He looked a bit out of it. Then he got moved to the centre, and it's been made a big deal about. Okay, the coach is trying to win a game of footy. He's trying to give the fans the win. But even if we win, we don't win well enough, and it's, oh no, Souths are going to flog us next week. We didn't beat the Knights by enough. And God help us if we don't get the 2 points. It doesn't matter where a team finishes the year before, guys. It means nothing. It means how they play on the day. We had a couple of players who weren't up to it yesterday as much as they needed to be for 80 minutes. And their team came. They've been humiliated by us for like 3 matches in a row. They hadn't scored a point against us for nearly 3 games, right? 14. I think they got 14 points in the last 4 matches, counting the trial, right? They were hungry and they showed it, and they deserve everything that they got yesterday. And our boys, you know what? Well, you want to compete. You want to deal with these Bulldogs fans who are all happy to sit there and jump on a winner, all happy to go and take all the spoils and proudly wear the merch when we win. But as soon as we lose, what do we get? It's people on this community as well go onto social media, joining in with these pundits who are just tearing our club to shreds. When our club's done everything for them, as you know, as far as giving back, because they're great supporters. We're all good supporters, right? There's no such thing as a fake fan, in my opinion. There's just fans that can do a lot more damage than they realise. And I just think we just should be a little bit more humble. And when we come out publicly, just try to look at it and go, okay, things aren't perfect. Of course they're not. They never were. Just because we want it to happen, will it to happen, isn't going to make it happen. The boys have to go through this. They have to be steeled. I go back to 1995. We had Terry Lamb, right? And Craig Poloramiano, who'd been building over a couple of years together, right? But the thing is, and we had a real seasoned forward pack and some real tough Bulldogs. One of my favourite seasons of all time. You know why? Because we couldn't beat a top 8 side all year. Couldn't beat one. They had a beer. They went and beat the best 3 teams of the 90s in succession and made a statement, right? And won the comp. I'm not saying our team can do that, because I don't believe we have experience where it counts in special positions, but we will. And all these things steal aside. Now, if the club doesn't think that there's players in that side that have got what it takes to go to that next level for what they need, as well as manage their cap, those guys will be moved on. whoever they are, whatever their names are. Okay? No one has it. But in my opinion, no one was talking about Jacob Carraz had a poor game yesterday, but still gets away a miracle offload for us to score. That's what I mean. All the players who played poorly yesterday had moments which kept us in the game as well. So everyone tries out there. It's got nothing to do with attitude. It's got everything to do with execution and, being accountable to things you don't do. I felt Marcelo Montoya was good. I felt that obviously Satilli stood up for us and Maxi King tried. They all tried. But under fatigue, there was a few blokes out there exposed, and that's what happens in this game of rugby league. It swings on a knife edge, especially when you're a side. I said this year the whole time, we can improve this year and go backwards on the ladder. Because if you know what's happening out there, all these sides and the rules of the game equalise things. The salary cap equalises things. And the team that's way out in front, do you want to know why they're way out in front? Because they've got the mixture of experience, which is played together for 350 first-class games each, from the time they were bloody kids to where they are now. And they have mental telepathy on what they're going to do, and that just makes it easier for their young kids to get blooded. If you have to blood too many of them at once, you have a year like last year where basically they were 1 minute from a grand final. A poor year, 1 minute from a grand final. That side is way above everybody else because they've earned it over a long period of time. And as much as we hate it, we're not there yet. But if we can get ourselves to where we need to be, who's to say we can't win a game that counts? It happens. You just got to keep chipping away, keep evolving your roster, keep doing what you got to do. What's happening on the chats, Gas?
Let's go through a few chats. So we'll go from the start.
G'day, Red. How you going, buddy?
G'day, guys. A few of us, not happy, but we're here anyway to talk about it, thrash it out. Knights look hungry for the win. They did, look, the Bulldogs definitely tried. Like there was that big sort of possession time in the first half where it was 4-0 and, Connor Tracy had to save a couple and push them over the dead ball line, and they just kept wave after wave. And obviously there was a big cheer when Birdo finally kicked one long to get it away a bit. But that sustained time absolutely smashed us, guys. You don't understand. If you saw the players off the ball, for those who were at the game, you would have seen it. Every time they got another goal line dropout, our players were struggling they were just on their haunches, struggling to get behind the goal line just to take the dropout. It was, very, very tiring for them. And a few of them were sort of just really feeling it out there, but they kept coming and they held them to 4-0. For that whole period, most teams, guys, would have had 3 or 4 tries put against them. So for us to even stay in that game, the first half with the possession they had and the amount of time it was in our half, they should have actually had 20 or 30 points against us, just like Penrith did to Parramatta, etc. So we did amazingly just to hold them out. The defence is our strength, yes, but our rotation got thrown off when players like Curran got mixed into that, and that started to hurt us. So yeah, definitely, that first half took a lot out of us, and we sort of struggled to get it back. We had some momentum, but we struggled to get it back. So, g'day, Gibby Chad. Showy, 19 days break, backed up with the 19, doesn't help anyone. Look, it's hard. Last week's game was also, I think, a big factor in what happened yesterday.
Yep.
It was a game. Last week's game was a game that, honestly, if we had lost that game, nobody would have been as worried as they would have been after yesterday's loss, if that makes sense. Everybody would have, we played Canberra in Canberra. We tried well. It was a rainy day, 19-day break. But, yeah, they just got us Canberra. So that game was a huge 2 points that, even some secret supporters were thinking is not going to come our way. But we got the job done. and that was, a very, very, brutal game. But the recovery, everything they did, they knew they just had to go out there and play daytime game, and that was their first daytime game of the year, and they kind of sort of got a little bit exposed physically because it was a very challenging game, and you could see some of the efforts out there, and Serralda alluded to them that we started to get a few players not doing their usual backing up, and when you move out of the system, then you're going to get caught out. So that period of that last sort of 5-7 minutes before half time, where we considered those 2 tries, and I'm going to say there was a couple of players that were normally not on the field at the time. So someone, for example, like Salmon, who's usually replaced by them, and Kurt Mann comes on for him. That was all changed. So Salmon was playing longer minutes. It was a hot day, so he was. He normally goes out and plays a very strong 20-25 minutes to start the game, knowing that he's going to come off. So he does a lot of work, coming off the line speed, the whole lot, knowing that he's going to come off. So you imagine he's done all that effort, and then the rotation shifted. So Kurt Mann ended up replacing Curran. So that changed the whole rotation. So if you look at it, Salmon's now out there after busting his balls to do everything to keep them to 4-0 for that first 25 minutes. Now all of a sudden he's been told, you got to stay up there. And he ended up playing maybe 60 minutes straight. And he got caught out a couple of times. That try where Frizzell went through, Salmon was standing right there, couldn't even get off the line, guys. He was just gone. Couldn't get off the line, couldn't even put a shoulder, couldn't do anything. And also, there was another one there. So the guys were playing, and they had to try to recover from all these different sort of challenges they had, and he did get caught out. So we'll keep moving through the chats. We look for teams.
Go to Amir, mate.
Go
to Amir.
Press on the one you're looking at, mate. I'm not sure which one.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
I can't see them all.
We did look fatigue, shall we? And that's to do with your first comment, mate. Until you build that game resilience and get that into that swing. Look, other teams are also not there yet either. Like, it's not an excuse. It's just we were outplayed in moments that counted. It happens. It happens. You can't expect us to win every game and beat every team we're expected to beat. Just doesn't happen. And the other results should prove that to you. But Amir, I don't know. We've had enough, and we want to single it out on the Galvin experiment, like it's an experiment. Galvin is currently there, and he made 200-something meters, ran the ball 28 times, and got belted in defence at least 24 times.
And bounced back every time.
And got straight up and took it like a man. And look, he drops those 2 balls in good ball, but it was the defence who did it. It's just like when the bloke who got past Critter, when Fletcher Hunt got past Critter and he missed the tackle. Next time he ran the ball, Critter was about to absolutely destroy him and he drops it.
Yeah.
He knew. Your defence and your aggression with defence causes errors. We cause them to make errors too. We made critical ones in good ball because we were fatigued, and our 7, their game plan worked. They weren't running at Bailey Hayward. They weren't pinpointing Bailey Hayward in this game. They ran wider. They were looking for Galvin so much in that game. All right? They did. Looking for him. Now, I know. So when they were going down the other edge as well, right? Attacking our left edge a lot. So they were trying to work Critter over. We did this. We almost had the same plan as them, to be honest. We went through Anari and Montoya way more often than we went the other way. And that's a game plan, guys. Now, the game plan didn't come through, but you've got to stick to the plan. You can't just abandon something, because what coach or leader abandons the plan? If you abandon the plan, it means you have no belief in the plan in the first place. And that's why 2023 fell to shit, because they didn't believe in him. Critter comes along, they believe in it. They start to see how it works.
They're following.
And that happened off 2 losses to start the season, guys. 2 losses. We defended nearly 4 sets in a row in that first half. 24 tackles in a row. Not many teams can do that in the NRL. Most teams average 13? Gas, something like that.
Yep.
12 to 13 tackles before they concede a try back to back. We're benchmarking that team. If that is what's crucial to us having a chance to make finals and give ourselves an opportunity to win a title. That is the main thing. And if we force it so teams have to be perfect and execute against us to score, that's just what's going to happen. And we're going to come up against the South Sydney side that are very rehearsed. It'll be quick play the ball by Cameron Murray. Beautiful swing out to the left. Cody onto Latrell. They'll hit us on the right edge for a bit and look to exploit us through Jai Gray and get buddy, what's his fucking name? Campbell Graham on the outside. And then they'll hit us with some beautiful stuff on the left. And if we're not up for it in the middle, they're going to score. So the boys are looking at this game before the Knights game. I'm sure they would have wanted to go out there and win it for Adam O'Brien. Just like it was a grudge match of the ages. It's been a team that have just asserted dominance over each other. They had a small period of dominance in 2023. We got it back. And they beat us. Well done to them. And they got a good side.
With a bit of history there. Tawala, Kurt Mann, even Carraz, all sort of, coming out of Newcastle. So there's a bit of history individually as well. So they're
exactly.
It's
we lost.
Not just the coach. Yep.
Tawala did well. But look, guys, Galvin got absolutely crunched. And as I said, if you're a forward out there and you're letting Jacob Saifidi get one-on-one with your halfback and belt him like that, you'll get return the favour somewhere. So why wasn't there 7 on the ground motionless? That's the shit. That's the shit that where I go, that's Bulldogs DNA. If they get through our kids, we go and get payback. That's the brutal stuff. That's where I go. I'm a little bit disappointed. That's where I want to see him improve. And it's not through players not trying. I saw Preston credited this legs tackle yesterday after having a real poor defensive first half. He did this legs tackle late in that first half, which the noise it made that came through the TV was brilliant. Just chopped him down, perfect technique. And Jacob Preston hobbling on one leg, some of the impacts he put on big plays. And to be honest, most of them got through it all right, but I could see the effort there. But I know what people are talking about when they want us to have middles. They want that aggression. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, I might get some highlights of Finau Latu, first few runs and his aggression. He then sort of felt the fatigue. Second half, he got dominated in a couple of tackles. But there was a set where he got dominated the first time he ran it. Two plays later, he said, give me the fucking ball. And he trampled a few guys. His first 2 runs, players went like 10-pin. The smaller guys who come into the content went flying off him, right? So you could see he's a hungry, determined, aggressive footballer that we've got. And when Phil Gould says he's going to play first grade this year, it's because of those fundamental things. The crowd's going to like him, and he's not going to. He's a man. He's not a boy, but he's still only 20. Okay. But that second run got us on the front foot and actually got us into a position where it was instrumental in, I believe, scoring tries that enabled us to win a game with a side which had 9 players missing from the week before. That beat Canberra in Canberra. So I thought Jack Underhill played well yesterday as well. But There's a question down here. Someone talked about Underhill. Give him a crack. Content influx. Yep. When Jack dominates New South Wales Cup, he got to the reserve position this week, which is great for him. He went out and played well yesterday. He just needs to keep doing that, and he'll get his opportunity. And look, yesterday I would have been aiming. If I'm the coach, just me, and I know I'm not, and I know I don't know more than the coach, but my language wouldn't have been satisfying the media narrative. Not that he gives a shit. He probably doesn't even listen to it. I would have just been saying, yeah, Satilli was great. The rest of our forwards need to have a look at themselves.
Just on Galvin as well. Look, it's easy for everyone to try to talk about, what they're expecting. Everyone's expecting Nathan Cleary out there. He's getting to the level that he's going to get to eventually, guys. We're working on him. But if you had a look at yesterday in the game, and it was, like I said, for those who were there, you might have seen what I saw as well. The amount of times he ran the ball, and sometimes because he's the fittest player in the club, he was ahead of the game sometimes. He was on his own. He'd be doing something. No one would be supporting. He would just be having to go. The reason he ran 231 meters for a halfback in a game that was hot and difficult, and he got smashed quite a few times, and he kept bouncing back up again. Even when Saifidi hit him, you could see him lying on the ground. He had a smile on his face. It didn't hurt him. He got up and he was like, well, you got me good. And he got up and played the ball. But he was ahead of so many times nobody was able to just be with him. So he'd look up and go, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. And he kept doing that because he was covering for a lot of other players that were fatigued as well. So there wasn't that same. Look at even when Birdo went through first, 38th minute into the second half, minute and a half into the second half, he goes through. Nobody was ready. Critter tried to get there, but he wasn't there. Nobody was ready, guys. So we were always at one step behind on our support, on everything that we did. There was just that anticipation wasn't there. And Galvin tried his heart out to do it. And he touched the ball that many times. On average, if you touch the ball that many times, you're going to have a few errors, unfortunately. And unfortunately for him, both of the errors, they went up the other side of the field and they scored both times, and it broke our back.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing. So we didn't defend those ones very well, and that we should have been better. But you can understand, But from his effort perspective, he's done everything that he could have done. Where I felt like we missed a golden chance early in the game, if you remember, Salmon was attacking the line. He had King on his left. Salmon went himself. If he just gives it to King, I reckon 8 times out of 10 he would have got that ball over the line.
I blame King for that as well.
Should have pushed off him a bit.
Yeah. He sort of he was like, I'm a decoy runner here.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, I'm not the man to score a try. Look, this is what I mean about narratives though. Hey, Max King scores that try. There would have been, the Bulldogs would have had a highlights package up about Galvin with the offload to King for the try assist.
Absolutely.
And everyone would have been talking about it. And then maybe they go in their shell and then we get some confidence, put a couple more tries on them. Right. And then everyone says we've done what we're supposed to have done against Newcastle, and we go to South with high hopes. Guys, the outcome, if you're focused on outcomes in this, learn this stuff. I know it's easy. I'd prefer just to be like everyone else, just sit there and fucking go, yeah, we lost. My whole week's ruined. Well, it is in a way, because I'm the same. We've got the same. We bleed blue and white, guys, whether we agree with each other or not. The fact of the matter is, though, it's outcomes are what the media wouldn't have a job if they didn't just rely on outcomes and stats. Yep, you won the game, so you were good. You lost the game, so you were shit. I know if we're playing Penrith and the game went like that, I think the fans would have been a little bit less angry. But it's the NRL, guys. Any team can beat anyone. And the Knights were just too good on the day, and that's it. We execute, though. People are telling a different story this week. And, yeah, look, I hope the Bulldogs fans go out there in massive numbers and cheer that side and be humble in if we win, humble in defeat. I heard fans booing us yesterday. Like, come on, I get it at 66-0, although I wouldn't do it. I get it. Look, I get it. That was a sad, sad day. We beat South the following week with their reserve grade side. Blake Taft nearly destroyed us. And Dallas's first game. What's his name?
Duncan.
Duncan's first game where he made that break off the kickoff to get him within 4. But we won the next week. Toby's first game, played well. Let's not bag our team's effort. And the bagging of Bailey Hayward, I'm sorry, that's an outcome of salary cap pressure and opportunities caused for a player that probably didn't believe he had a future at the club past 2026 and had an opportunity to do things now and put the club into a position where we're like, we've got to extend this guy. Or it's like, nah, Bailey's got a good attitude, good heart. He's a Bulldog. He's got good skills, and he'll develop into a world-class hooker one day. So we've got to get him in there now, and he's had some really good performances. We don't beat Canberra without Bailey Hayward last week. Everyone's forgetting that. So give the kid a chance, eh? And he wasn't that bad anyway. Oh, the other hooker makes 50 tackles. He only made 35. Well, the other hooker played 80 and was running downhill for the first half. The other hooker's also a New Zealand international. Had his nose busted, the poor guy, in an asshole sandwich. God, I was laughing. I felt so sorry for Crossland. And he's a really good player who's been tackling big blokes in the middle for 80 minutes for about 4 or 5 years now. Context, guys.
They've only lost one game, Newcastle, guys. They've won 3 out of their 4 games. So they've actually started the season well, irrespective of the players that have come and gone, with injury, etc. So they've only had the one loss last week to the Warriors, and everything else they've done very well, whoever it was last week, but everything else they've done well with. So, I wouldn't put that against them, guys. They're a good team. Like everything's, everyone's going to have that equalisation with the salary cap. So they've started the year well. And, if you're just off in this game, you're going to get caught out. But like I've said it, and I said in the last few podcasts, it's all about building to the right time of the year. Because if you look at the moment, everybody just expecting Penrith is just already going to win the grand final. No problem. That's fine. Based on the current 4 weeks of form, that's fine. But I would rather be peaking at the right time of the year than this time of the year. Last year, we were caught up in that sort of 5 or 6 or 7 games in a row that we'd started off. And then we got on the back end of a game against Brisbane at, Suncorp in the rain. And then all of a sudden, all the narratives started to shift. And then everything just kept folding from there for everyone. But at the end of the day, guys, it's how you finish the year. And for us, we're trying to build something. We've still got a lot of pieces of the puzzle that are not fit properly yet. We haven't even had Leo play. There's a lot of things that we're doing we haven't had. Even with missing Leo, we missed a lot of forwards as well yesterday. Then we copped a forward injury. So everything was, but if you're not on perfectly for the day, you're going to get beat. And yesterday, the Knights wanted it more. You could see that. They executed their plays. We could have been up early. They got one chance after we didn't score that try, and they went bang, straight down there, exposed Critter and Carraz, and put, and Tracy was on a hiding to nothing there. Young dummies doesn't dummy. He's on a hiding to nothing. He was never going to stop that try. So there's too many players coming at him. So, and even again, guys, have a look at Connor Tracy again. How outstanding is his effort from the first touch he got when he made that 30, 40 metre bust up the middle, saving tries all day. He was, again, the most consistent player. And it's no surprise that after another Chinese dinner, looks like he might be re-signing with us for another couple of years. So,
Steal
well
my thunder,
deserved.
Gas. Steal my thunder.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry,
Sorry,
I had
buddy.
plenty of opportunity, mate. I spoke for like 78 minutes already.
Exactly, mate. If you snooze, you lose, mate. And one other thing,
That's
guys,
it.
if anybody's not sure, we did have 2 charges from the weekend. So Lockie Galvin has a second offence 2 weeks in a row. So it's only going to be a fine, 1,825, and Kickout's also got a fine as well. So both of them will be free to play against the Rabbitohs.
Can I say something about that real quickly?
Yes, go for it.
Guys, if you are on social media and people want to banter and say that the Bulldogs are getting good treatment because we didn't get any suspensions for hip drops, you just have to say this. If any of the Newcastle Knights got injured from those tackles, our players would be missing between 1 and 3 weeks. Okay, so or even 4 weeks. Especially Galvin, who got done for the charge the week before as the second charge, would have been a higher grading. He would have got 4 weeks had there been someone injured. So everyone, the media is trying to bait you to sit there and go and defend people and whatever else. You just put the clear facts there. If an injury occurs due to an accidental hip drop, which they all are, you can't avoid these things. They're like head knocks in rugby league. You're getting hip drops, especially with a faster game, more powerful players. Players are holding on for grim life. All they can do is literally let go, or losing your legs is just part of the game. In rugby union, you get penalised for losing your legs, and it's very hard to keep them together. You know, it's one of those things. Like, yep, you lost your legs, but it causes damage. If the player gets injured, you're going to get plenty of weeks. If they don't get injured, it should be. It's just an accident, guys. It's a bloody accident. We also got a new member just then. Get Covs Fox. You have to let us know your name. You want us to call you. Thank you for joining the channel. Really appreciate it, mate. And we'll get your comment up here.
I think it might be a she, which has got a few questions there. So still early for me as a Bulldogs fan. Yesterday was character building stuff. Couple of questions, practical questions. Just join the chat. How do we stop those errors that let Young slice through in both halves? And how do we get a bit more creative in attack?
Good question. So the first Young try, did their homework, got us on the hop, did their work through the middle and created numbers on the edges. And I feel that both Critter and Carraz didn't work effectively there. And the whole 4 of them, actually, they didn't come up as one, and they got around us, and they've got the speed and the experience to make that happen. Now, the second try that he got, 2 of our guys got abandoned, were stranded, and their halfback went straight to the space, and we didn't adjust in our defensive line at all. Everyone stayed in the middle of the field. No one pushed across. I think we had our edge back rower out there on his own. So they had a 4-on-1, right? And then everyone's talking about, like that was just a really poor adjustment in defense and poor communication. Okay, so the whole team's got to be accountable to those tries. And look, they won't even need video of that to know how bad that was. Okay. We rarely do shit like that. But it is going to happen. There's always lapses, and teams can force lapses as well. How do we get more creative in attack? We just keep sticking to the plan, sticking to the process, believing in things, and having the coaches sit there, and if they decide it's not going to work, they need to come up with something. I didn't feel that we had a fresh Sean O'Sullivan. I will give him credit though. Like, he's not getting enough minutes either. He played New South Wales Cup last week, which was good for him. But 20 minutes for him to come in and change things at that point, probably without a platform, never going to really do it. I don't know. Can people explain to me how we were better with the ball when he came on? Because I don't feel that we were in
He
any
tried
capacity.
hard, but he tried
He
too hard.
tried
I feel.
hard,
Because
and
he
I
knew he
felt
only had such a short time to try to make a difference. So he was overplaying his hand a couple of times. So that's all.
that's it. Yeah. So overplayed his
Yeah.
hand a couple of times, trying to win the game for the boys. And I hoped he did, even though I know our fans would have said, "See, we told you Sean O'Sullivan should start." Look, if things don't work, he'll eventually get a start. That's not the club admitting defeat either. That's just trying to get our season on track. And sometimes, Sam Walker's been dropped by Robinson on about 3 occasions, guys. He's considered he's on $1 million a season, and he's still very young. That's the process for developing your halves and stuff. What it's about, though, is having enough experience around them and the team believing in the process enough so that they can get through the season and give themselves an opportunity late when it counts and bring the kid back in confident from New South Wales Cup, whatever it is. Unfortunately, no one's bagged the shit out of Sam Walker when he wasn't playing that well, when the Roosters were losing and stuff. That's the difference. But look, Galvin gets a lot of money. His family are around him. The club's around him. They're supporting him. I'm sure he'd be like, yeah, I'm living my dream to play rugby league. I'm learning in first grade. That was a hard lesson yesterday. I tried my absolute guts out. There's things I've got to do better. There's things we've all got to do better. I wouldn't trade this for the world. They can say whatever they want about me. All right. I'm sure that's how his mindset is. But all of us need to keep it in our pants sometimes, I believe.
I'll just go through a few more chats, Mick, so we can catch up a bit. So I know we've covered this off, but I'll go back to this one anyway. I don't want to be too hard on him, but Galvin is not yet up to first grade level. We need a dummy half like the Knights had in the second half, probing and running like Hayward served. So we've covered that quite a bit already with regards to Galvin, and also with Hayward still learning his trade in the hooker role, and his running game will come, guys, as he starts to know that he can play 80 minutes and make 40, 50 tackles in a game as well. So that's going to
Exactly.
come. So just be a bit patient with that. G'day, Timmy. Timmy's mentioning also that we had free tickets for the kids. So any paying adult yesterday also had free entry for the kids. So that's probably even another disappointment on why the crowd was so low for our standards now, guys. Our standards are not 20,000 now. Our standards are 25, 30 on games like that on a Saturday. G'day, Joby. Good catching up with you at Canberra last week, mate. Satilli was one of a few that can raise their head high. He did put in a big effort, played some big minutes. And every time he had the ball, guys, you could see it was a bit like Jeff Robinson, the hair going everywhere. Every time he hit someone, it was great to see. Anthony wants us to bring back Cherry, put him on the left, Critter on the right as it was, strike for both sides. Look, the guys have got a process to work with. Seraldo, everything that they're doing, they're working with. You've got to give something a go for it to work. Yesterday, when the game was getting out of hand late, and like Michael said, Seraldo didn't have to tell the media this, but he didn't have to acknowledge it. But they did what they felt they had to do to get back in the game. And at the end of the day, they almost got the job done. So, we miss Harry Hayes out there. Max King had one bad crusher sort of tackle but he had a good game though himself. So I don't think he had a shocker showing. Maybe if you're up to it, go back and watch the game again. Watch his good moments. Graham made that line break. He made that line break, and he did well. So that's what happens when you get a bit of fresh legs, kind of like what the Dragons did to us last year when Liddell came on and gave Cookie a rest, and then he started to cut through, and he did the same thing there. Basically, we had, I think, Kurt Mann and Bailey Hayward, both markers split, and he just dummied. Hayward went to the right, and he went straight behind them. Salmon was there, and he just made that break, and they got that try. That was a big hit on Lockie. We've spoken about Timmy. I don't feel like we took the foot off when we were up 16-12. We kept trying, we kept pushing, but that game was a hard game for them. So that you can get the momentum and it swings, but you look at what happened yesterday. Cowboys scored 3 tries in 8 minutes to beat the Storm. So you just feel like you just couldn't keep going. But I think that sort of second knock on by Galvin took the wind out of them a bit, because then they went down the other side and scored, and that kind of hurt. Gav Bay, hard to stay positive when our attack shows no sign. Just for me alone, what we did in Canberra game is massive improvement. So, Gav, just what we did last week against Canberra, to put on 2 set plays in the wet that both led to tries, is a massive improvement. We all have to stay patient. Everybody's watching all the other NRL games now and watching teams win 40-30 and thinking that they've got attack. I don't really care about that, guys. If we had managed to get the job done yesterday, I would have gladly taken the ugliest win you can get. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Stop watching and waiting and thinking you have to score 30, 40 points to have a good attacking game. I'd rather build into the season, and I'm going to keep saying this until we do. And I'm going to trust the coaching staff and the players to get there. So it's a long season. It's only week 4, and our time will come, guys. Just need to stay patient. We don't need to be the ones putting additional pressure on them as well. Felt like deja vu from the Tigers game, to a degree, last year. You don't like the red V, and you feel like our attack is worse than theirs. That's fair enough, Shoei. That's your opinion, as they say in Big Bang Theory. We were a team that we were expected to win, disallowed early try and a Burton break. Look, we had some chances early. I'll be honest with you guys, even when Montoya nearly scored in the corner and he was trying to get that ball back, that was actually pulled out by Bradman Best. The reason they disallowed that try, they said he was held. He was not held for me. If he was held, Hazem El-Masri's try in 04 wouldn't have been a try.
Exactly.
He paused it on a slow motion and said he's held. He never let the play finish. If he had let it finish, when you watch it again, Bradman Best pulls the ball out, it goes back, and we actually score. So, again, we didn't get the benefit of the doubt on that one, and the video ref was too quick to rule that was held when that play was still in motion. The ball had not been, the hand carrying the ball had not touched the ground. He was still moving. So for that to be called held that fast, if you watch it in normal speed, trust me, you'll see what I just saw there. The problem was, though, they never showed that replay properly all the time as well.
So what I want to ask people is, are disallowed tries bad attack? Is that bad attack? The fact that the winger didn't quite get himself in position to score the try at that moment, that Max King was just sort of stopped to the point where the ref went up, decided that he was going up no try on everything that happened around the Dogs. And then probably the try that was dubious, he called it a try straight up. So, we had a bit of luck too. But at the end of the day, when you make 7 line breaks, it's not just through individual brilliance. Yeah, Connor Tracy took a gap. Burton took a half chance, made a gap. Like, he'd be a good racehorse, can tell you that much. Doesn't need too much to make him pay. I'll tell you what the problem with our left edge was. When we're clicking, that left edge are running, all 4 of them in support. They were like diagonal rather than together, or too often. When Kickout and Burton, Cherry and the Fox were all running in a line, opposition defenses struggled big time. Go back to some of those Roosters games where we beat them back in 24. Actually, just watching us on that left edge, right edge, just different moments where we've had where we've come out of that going, God, our attack was good today. No one had a problem with our attack against Manly, and they were up for it. They were there at every pass that was made. They were there. They had someone there.
They smashed us in that game.
They absolutely smashed us defense. Yeah, they were creaming us in the middle. We beat them by 40. The outcome was a 40-point win. The effort to get that win was so much harder. And this is what's not taken into context, people. So, yeah, it's very disappointing to friggin' lose. It would have been nice to bank those 2 points coming up against Souths, Penrith, and Parramatta and Brisbane in consecutive weeks. It's going to be tough. And the boys have got to do their best. And what they need is support, not people trying to tear. We're already going to be teared apart from the media when our fans start doing it and go to games and start shitting on our. It's one thing to say, "Oh, pull your finger out, you bloody lazy people," in a motivational way, than to just single out players and just start. Look, we've got a couple of nice comments on here that I don't even want to show. Oh, we've got to sack O'Brien. Why? If we'd lost all 3 games, and then we have people saying, "Oh, we could be 0-3." Well, we could be, but we're not. We're 2-1 with a bye. We're in the top 8. And we didn't execute all our plays. It's clunky. The passing is still not there where it needs to be. I felt there was a lot of times where our players taking it to the line did so with great intent and speed, but it was like they were going and then stopping the momentum. They weren't passing with momentum. And I just felt that everything was disjointed. But those things get better as the season goes on. Now, there's some teams like the Cowboys. I felt their passing's been brilliant all season, and they look like they're going to run last. And then they managed to get some confidence against the Titans, and their attack got them over the Storm, who are sort of questioning themselves at the moment. But I don't see the Cowboys. The Cowboys are just that inconsistent side that'll, it's hard to win in North Queensland at this time of year. It always has been and it always will be.
Especially if you're from Melbourne.
Exactly. Right? But it's not an excuse. It's just context, guys. Context.
Although there was a pass that was a contender for the pass of the year yesterday in that Melbourne game, though, you got to say.
Oh, yeah.
From Harry Grant. That was a golden pass.
Well, I'll tell you
to pull that off was unbelievable.
You go our Jersey flag last week, Patrick Young did that twice.
There you go. He's in waiting, guys. He's in waiting. Don't worry. He's there.
And we've got another win in Jersey flag. Harold Matts, I think we lost today. And SG Ball, we had a big win. Although a lot of the good players weren't in that side today. Turner's had a few issues, I think, with a bit of discipline and stuff. But
Raymond is saying we've got no speed. Look, we're not the fastest team for sure. We know that. Obviously, losing Fox was a bit of a blow.
That's it, Ross.
But it is what it is, guys. We've got a fast enough team. We can do the job. We just got to, obviously execute our plays a bit more. It's just the finishing at the end of the day. We did have enough chances to win that game. We could have easily been up early and, controlling that game as we do. Once we get up, we just get into the grind. But, they got the jump on us, and then we sort of never got back until it was too late. So Frizzell on a pension, best forward on the park, unbelievable. He played well. There was a few others. The halves weren't the issue. The forward switching players positions, having Mann, Hayward, SOS, Salmon at the same time.
Content in flux.
Content in flux, 3090. Unfortunately, injuries caused a bit of that as well. So, when you had Curran come off, you obviously lose the rotation. We don't normally have Salmon and Mann on at the same time, so everything was out of whack on that side. And obviously, we had to, play to the conditions. The guys were tired. We need to get some fresh legs out. So they went for mobility rather than bringing sort of Lipway, Hopway back on, or other. They had to go for what we needed for chasing points as well to win the game. Everything that Serraldo did yesterday was to try to get the result and still find a way to get those 2 points. So whether everyone agrees or disagrees with what he tried to do, that's what they thought was going to be the best based on what we were executing on the day. They said, let's, rather than sit there and talk about it on the team review on Monday, they said, let's put this in place now during the game, see if we can find those 2 points. If we don't, then we can work on that as well. So it's not from a lack of trying. Sometimes it's hard to stop that momentum or change that. They tried to change it in the middle of a game, which is, for me, it's great to see, because sometimes you just end up doing the same thing and getting the same result. So,
I need to come in here, Gas.
do it,
A
mate.
pivotal moment was that intercept try. Now, if that doesn't happen, I know people can talk about ifs and whats and whatever, but this is context, right? Sean O'Sullivan doesn't even play yesterday if we get to the front at 18-16. Fletcher Baker comes on.
Yeah.
Sauce got used because the game was into the Knights were burning out there. They were flat on their feet. Although they had all the running in the first half, in that second half, after we applied all that pressure, they were struggling big time. And if we get those next points, but once they got that break on us, and then they get another lucky try or another try from their own end, then there's no option but to bring on a little guy to try and create something and get something and get some and just help the guys out there. All our edges, both sides of our edges and our halves were overworked. And, you know, Birdo was struggling. So he's like, I'll get Critter into the game. And if people want to talk about Bronson Cherry coming back in, Bronson had 7 runs for 48 metres yesterday. He hardly got the ball. He he might have had a little injury too. You never know. But it was just I've never seen Bronson only run 48 metres, even when he's been injured or whatever. So he all the work was done by the other centre and the other players in the back. I felt he went all right in that second half, but unless you're watching Cup and unless you're watching these individuals every week, if they're not dominating their opponents or individually coming up with efforts which demand that they be next in line, they're still on a journey of development and they're not ready. Lipboy Hotboy, we might have said, okay, he wasn't the answer for us yesterday, but he has been one of the best performed players in New South Wales Cup for our team and across any team for a long time now. So that's the step up. And now, if he gets to play NRL every week at a side, right, he's going to develop further and be a, you know, Croker's last couple of years, Croker's been all right, but he's been inconsistent, not played heaps of minutes. This year, he's been one of their best forwards for the Knights. Hitting hard to stop, breaking a couple of tackles, all passing on tune. Players improve in teams when they get time and perseverance. We got to do that with our guys too, especially our young kids. Finau Latu, AJ Jones, if they don't suffer bad injuries, Jack Underhill, Jack Todd would have already been a member of this side for quite a while if he didn't have his arm break on him, both his arms break, and now get another bloody head knock and need surgery over the. It's like lightning keeps striking on that kid. These are the things we have to overcome. But we're developing players. They just have had a bit of bad luck getting them into our squad. Same with Mitch Woods. If he got through last preseason, he probably debuts last year. If he got through this preseason, he's probably in front of Sauce, right? As far as positioning him to get his and to cut. But you don't bring Mitch Woods into a side that's in bad form either. And every rugby league player will tell you that. I don't know why players like Anasta and ex-players are talking about Mitchell Woods having to come in the side when they know that you don't bring a rookie into a team that doesn't have a pack. Now, Ross Palmer made a really good point. Brent Sherwin, there's no way he would have been exposed like that. So I think our forwards have been so good for us over the last 2 years. But yesterday, I feel that there need to be a couple of blokes who got a bit angry at what happened yesterday and made a bit more of a difference. We played discipline. We only gave away 3 penalties. It's 5 ruck infringements each. And that probably does give us the best chance to get away with a game like that. But sometimes I think the eye test has to happen. And, I just think that I think Galvin should be asking a bit more. As a halfback, he needs to go to those blokes and say, where the fuck were you? You saw me get hammered. Why wasn't their halfback going home in an ambulance? What are you? That's what Andrew Johns would do. There's no way he's copping that shit. The difference is Johns would go and upend them himself. That's why he's an immortal.
That's right.
But not every halfback can do what Johns can do. So I think we're typically a little bit hard on this attack stuff. It's early in the season. And, yeah.
Let's go through a few stats, mate.
Give him a chance.
Let's go through a few stats, mate.
All right. So, guys, we ended up winning back in that second half. Well, I wish it had the halftime, full time.
I've got it. I've actually got it. I actually snapshotted all of it at halftime yesterday. We had 44% possession against their 56 in the first half. We had the ball, time in possession. We had 12 minutes 46 against their 16:35.
So we reversed it. We reversed it in the second half. Yep.
Completion rates, we had 77% in the first half against their 76. On the attack side, we had 92 runs against their 107 in that first half. So I know we took over there on that stat there. But
so
our run meters
30 in the second.
Our run meters was only 830 in that first half against their 1,013. So we limited them to 565 in the second half.
And we got 1,200.
Correct. So our post-contact meters at halftime was 273 against 351. Line breaks up at halftime was 4-3 to the Newcastle Knights. So it was at 3-1. 4-1 in the second half our way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tackle breaks. It was 37 tackle breaks for Newcastle and only 7 tackle breaks for us in the first half. So
quite even in the second half. The
23, 20. Average set distance, 46 for us in the first half, and 39 for them in the first half. Kick return meters, we only had 99 against their 81. The average play the ball speed was 347 for us and 328 for them in the first half. So that's where they were getting that roll on, guys, in the first half. Offloads, 5 all in the first half. So we only conceded 1 in the second half.
7-1 in the second.
Yep. The receipts, 220 to 273. Mm-hmm. So total passes, we had 126 in the first half against 153. And dummy passes, 8 to 21. So kicking, we kicked it 11 times and they kicked it 13 times in the first half. Our meters, 237 against 390. So they got another 410 there. And the forced dropouts was 5-1 so it was only 1 more dropout in the second half our way. Kick defusal, it was 71% to 67, so they stayed on that mark. We had 4 bombs to 2. Grubbers, we had a few there. We had 5 all at halftime. Defensively, 81% for us and 89% for them. Tackles made at halftime we had made 201 tackles, and they had only made 165.
Bloody
And
hell.
we had missed 37 tackles in the first half against 7
10.
for Newcastle.
7.
7 on live.
So it was a tale of two halves. We just didn't execute as well as they did.
Correct.
And we didn't get an intercept.
The ineffective tackles was 9 to 13, so we had none in the second half. Errors 7-6, 7 to the Bulldogs, 6 to them. So on the negative play, penalties were 1-1 at half time. Ruck infringements were 4-3. So and sin bins, obviously there was only 1, and interchanges. We'd used 3-3 in the first half, so we only used another 3. So that was the stats there. But yeah, because I think you can't find the halftime one. That's why I thought I'd grab the halftime ones while we were sitting there 16-0 with our tail between our legs. But yeah, guys, a lot of good stuff to come out of yesterday. You learn more from the games you lose than from the games you win. We've obviously had 2 close wins to start the year, but the boys will be a lot better off now to learn from that loss. And I honestly believe they will feel like they let us supporters down, especially for the ones who went to the game, and you know how they pumped it all up in the middle of the week in the press conferences, how we're looking forward to playing in front of our crowd and everything. So they will feel like they've let us down. So I'm expecting them to come out there next week against the Rabbitohs and put a big showing. And, you know, there's a great rivalry there with the Rabbitohs. Last few years, it's sort of been a little bit mixed because we've sort of had the run on them lately, but they've now reassembled their great team, and they've sort of come over their injury woes of the last few years, and their team is stacked full of talent who on their day can pretty much beat anyone. So that's going to be great. It's going to be the Rabbitohs' official home game. All Bulldog members will have reciprocal rights, so you can still scan your card in. You won't be sitting in your usual spots, but you'll still be able to go in there. But from a club perspective, the Bulldogs and the Rabbitohs will share the gate. So if there's another 65, 70,000 from a club perspective, that's going to be split between the two. That's the arrangement that they've got between themselves. So it'll be a big game, guys. As we get into this week, this game is going to be sort of in the back of your mind. But when we get that next win under our belt, this game will be forgotten and we can move on. But let's see how well the guys can learn from this game and get themselves right. And even if you were at the game yesterday, you would have seen the players when they scored that first try. What did they do? Instead of getting to their huddle, they all turned around, they watched the screen, they wanted to see exactly what happened then and there. They wanted to see, Carraz and you can see Critter were watching it and saying, yep, what happened, how they got around them, what they did. And they turned around, they started talking in the huddle. So they used that big screen to their advantage to see what they went, what they did to go wrong and to try to learn from that. So like Michael said, when they go through their reviews, they're going to have a good idea what they did wrong. But I just feel like, too many things yesterday we didn't execute well. We didn't get that early try that could have just, settled them down a bit. And then once we started getting our rotations mixed up, Salmon playing more minutes when he wasn't expecting to, all these little things, they all add up, guys. They all add up. We had enough, to show that we can come back. And, honestly, that game that we played yesterday, most teams would have been beaten by 20 or 30. So I will say, for us to even still be in that game when we never looked like we were in it and to still have a chance until the last few minutes, just disappointing to see so many people walk out and leave the game, when they scored, because we scored pretty much straight away. If Critter had kicked that goal, we still would have been a chance for golden point. So there was still enough time. So stay, support your teams, be upset with something, but don't go after players individually with negativity, guys. It doesn't help anyone. And look, on this podcast, we've got a lot of members of family from players, and I'm sure they wouldn't be on here if they didn't appreciate the support we gave all the players, even when they're doing well or not. We're not here to put a player down. They're a human being like everyone else. They make mistakes. They're all got mental health and well-being that we need to protect and look after.
Yeah, I want to come in here, Gas.
Yeah, please do.
Adrian, watch the start of this if you haven't been watching from the start. But when you've been defending for 16 minutes and Josh Curran comes on and he only lasts 3 minutes after being rattled in the ribs with a great one-on-one shot, which went over the horizontal, to be honest. It was a great hit. I think there shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, consistency-wise, I think that was a penalty. There was a penalty early where, they were offside. It should have just been given a penalty. We play the ball and then we don't get the try, which I still think was a try. The interchange, as I said earlier, Sauce doesn't even come on if we can get one more try. Instead, the guy that's done the most work on the field, playing both sides of the field, running on average 10 metres per hit up, just doing everything he can, that young fella. Now, when he makes those mistakes and we fall behind on the scoreboard, we've got to bring a creative player on. We can't bring in a Fletcher Baker or whatever. They had to give Bailey a rest, and they did. And Bailey did some great things, as I said. He also probably went the wrong way a couple of times. Those players are like, give me the ball, we didn't get it. Those players are called for it and got it. This is the choice a hooker has to make every game, and he's never going to get it right every time, and eventually he'll do it right more often than he won't. So, yeah, look, Amir said our forwards are shit. See, this is what I mean, mate. Like, I know you're pissed off and you want to present something. When we're winning, you're very supportive. When we're losing, everything's shit. The same forwards that got you all those wins are the same forwards that were there yesterday. Well, some of them were. Some of them have injured and whatever else. But they weren't shit at all. They just were overworked. Look, we ended up winning the average set distance. We won every stat nearly and lost the game. It came down to moments. They got theirs. We didn't get ours. You make 7 line breaks, score 5 tries. They make 5 line breaks, score 5 tries. If we score 5 tries, is your attack bad when you're scoring 5 tries? I don't think so. I thought their defense was pretty good yesterday. And as I said, they would have had a little bit of knowledge of what their weaknesses have been. And you would think that, and they would have sort of probably suspected that O'Brien was going to, and our attack was going to come at the areas that they've traditionally been weak at. And I felt that's exactly what we're trying to do. And we're trying to present shapes that they struggle with. And they were prepared for it. They were anticipating everything. Curran doesn't get his ribs smashed if they're not anticipating that. Now, we can say it's predetermined, and some of our play was under fatigue. There was players who decided what they were going to do before because the play was called, and they went with it. As that team continues to progress through the season, they will get better at that. There'll be more cohesion around that. Right now, it's about cohesion in the defensive line. And I would say that the Raiders had to offload their guts out to get 2 tries against us. The Dragons pulled out 2 really good, strong plays, in my opinion, to score 2 tries against us. And look, yesterday they got us up the middle a couple of times, but went around us twice and then just took advantage of some poor stuff. We were poor defensively yesterday on a couple of main moments, and that cost us the game.
A couple of flops cost us some early repeat sets, which hurt as well. So we had kick out literally jumped on and then jumped, and they scored at the back of that set. That's when we just had the disallowed try. They scored on the back of that set. I mean, and he did it twice. Kick out, cop that. He
also did a try-saving beautiful tackle that they got us on the next play too.
Yeah. But that's
the thing.
You
suck your edge out, you suck your edge inwards, and then attack where the space is. it doesn't come through. It comes through strategy and hard work on both sides, and we just didn't cover our players as well as we needed to. And when you lose in possession by the amount we were in the first half, you're just not you're going to concede points. And I think if the Knights were playing the Cowboys yesterday, it would have been 30-0 at half time. I can tell you that right now.
Jeffrey says a good comment there. Yesterday was just a speed hump on the road to glory. But
There you go. Good on you,
this is a good
brother.
message here. David Swartz. Look good for the first 10 minutes. Could have scored 3 tries and it becomes a totally different game.
Yep.
I like what I saw Galvin do, which was using Preston as a decoy. He gave some nice wide ball. So they're the things that, guys, we're going to look at now. So, we have a loss. We have a loss. It can happen to anyone. It's How do we move forward now? How do we learn from it? How do we, get ourselves – the whole idea of this podcast today, guys, is to just pick everyone's mood back up a bit, put a bit of perspective into yesterday's game, go through some of the things. Look, some things Michael said I didn't see and vice versa, comments you're making. It's not here to be talking about pushing people or coaches, or I think there's a comment there about getting O'Brien out. I mean, O'Brien got us the win against Canberra last week with the 2 set plays he introduced. So, guys, we can't just take the good when we want it and the bad when we don't want it. We've got to look at the season as a whole. If Seraldo was a perfect attacking coach, he wouldn't be employing an attacking coach to help. So he's a defensive coach, and he needs all the help around him. What he had with Jason Taylor last year wasn't working, so he went another direction. You got to trust the process. What I saw just in Canberra's game last week gave me confidence. Yesterday, we didn't even try to execute any of those plays because they were too fatigued to even try some of those set plays that they've been working on. And that's what happens when you get into these games sometimes. What you go out to do as a plan, people are playing in different positions, everyone's all over the shop, injuries and everything, and some things that just don't end up panning out. But the more you play together, the more you're going to learn these things, and the more you'll be able to just look at the player and just straight away know what you want to do without even having to say anything, guys. That's what comes from that as well. What have you got there, mate?
Do you think Sewer will play? Yeah, I love what you said there, Gas. Thank you, mate. Do you think Sewer will play some games this year, or only if injury happens? I think Jonathan Sewer will definitely play some games this year. Montoya or Tuala or people. There'll be injuries. There'll be Origin.
Hopefully.
And hopefully he can come into the side when we're playing on the front foot, and he can finish off some stuff. He's a real talent. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think he definitely will, Nicholas. Good question. 100%, Timmy. Let's go to Andy. Thank you, Timmy. Yep, when we started playing more direct, I think the commentators were right about that in the commentary. I like Jake Duke when he does his one-on-ones, not so much as a commentator, but he'll learn. He's getting better. It hurts a bit more losing tonight after what they did do. And that's it. And we've embarrassed them to play 4 matches and score 14 points against a team you just scored 100 points against in 2 matches. You burn on that. They penciled this game. Obviously, they lost their coach to the Dogs. They lost Leo Thompson, who didn't want to stay at the club. They offered him more money than we did. He wanted out, right? That's like, well, F you.
He would have been hurting yesterday.
Leo would have been fuming yesterday.
He would have been hurting yesterday, yeah.
He'll be circling that next game.
Yep.
Saying Jacob wants to take on Galvin. All right. Well, let's go, Sandon. Let's go, Fletcher. Let's go. Anyone out there wants a crack. But whoever's there now has got to do it. As Big Ross said, Ross keeps it simple. Wouldn't have happened to Sherwin. Asatasi and Willie and Sonny Bill and that would have Shrek. They would have got. We don't have them anymore. The game's changed, but those moments still matter in this game of rugby league.
Subox, g'day. How you going? He wants Critter on the ball and he wants him at fullback. I think we've got one of the form fullbacks in the league at the moment, doing very well there. I think we just need to execute a little bit better in everyone's position. So Critter's still doing well there. Yeah, Timmy, that's right. He anticipated that one. I think the boys had a slight mindset before the game, and that we were just going to win easy. We've had two tough games to start. Look, both games, 90 minutes in Vegas, and last week in the rain, we had to play the full 80 minutes just to get that result. And it kind of felt like a grand final win when you finished that game when Tracy pulled it off. So we have not had the opportunity to take the foot off at all since the start of the season, guys. Which, sometimes you have a game where you do all the work early and then you blow out and score a few late tries and you can cruise to victory. We've had to play every minute of every game so far. So it's hard to keep up that whole level. Even Penrith yesterday took the foot off a bit, and Parramatta scored 20 points against them, where they've only conceded 10 points in their first 3 games. So they scored 20 against them. So against any team, guys, if you just take the foot off a little bit, any team can come back at you. And we did that yesterday. We were just off. We didn't execute. We didn't get the front early, and we copped it. So that kind of hurt.
Yeah, having that build up to Vegas, and then knowing we had the Raiders away, and then we've got Souths on Good Friday, and Penrith and Parramatta in Brisbane. That Knights game was there as that real game that was a massive trap for us, and we fell into the trap. It's as simple as that. Mindset plays a lot of things, but I just want people to, I'm sure everyone on this chat has had moments in their life where going to work was hard the next day, whether you're on good money or shit money, whatever it is. We all have a hard day at work. And keep that in mind. These things happen, and it doesn't matter how much you pay people, whether you're Michael Jordan, not whether you're Michael Jordan, but whether you're in the NBA earning $200 million or in the NRL earning $200,000. You're human. You can have a bad day at work, and that can affect your team. And there was a couple of players who didn't have their best days at work yesterday, and that's just all it takes for you to lose in this game when the other side is there to win. And they're all there. They're all on time for work. They're all anticipating it. They're all fired up, ready to get the job done so they can go home as winners. And that's what they did the Knights. We didn't do it. Maybe next week we all go to work with the right attitude, with the right, everything comes together. Everyone gets their job done as professionals, and maybe Souths have a couple of players who miss a few things. Who knows? Maybe they play at their best and we still beat them. Doesn't matter. It's all right to lose, and especially for some of our players, some of our young forwards, some of our young players especially, and knowing that a lot of our gun players are still 25 years old, guys, at the start of their careers, like Galvin. Sorry, not like Critter, like Birdo. All right? They're our leaders, but they're still young, right? Maybe it's games like this which are going to steal them for when it counts, right? We're not a team that's going to go undefeated. I'm sorry, we're just not that team yet. Can we build into that team? I think we can, but we're not there yet. There's a couple of young guns coming through that a bit of luck with injury, with the way they're handling these blokes, they're going to make a real difference to us as well. And I think you'll find in a couple of years when their halfback gets demolished like that, the people who did it are going to be made to pay on both the way we make them feel and on the scoreboard. So there you go.
I think the boys will be more locked in against South defensively. Maybe complacency didn't help. Mate, flip a coin for Cronulla or Raiders. Good luck with that. That's why I don't do tipping.
Cronulla. Tip Cronulla.
Tracy to the bench. He covers entire back 5 and 6. Can play in the middle. I think you've got something against Tracy, mate. I'm not sure what it is, but he's been not just our most consistent player this year, but also last year. He's the reason we did what we did last year. And he was the highest daily M scorer as well, as recognised by everyone else. So when he got injured, our season fell apart last year.
No, it's
So
because he threw an intercept. It's because he threw an intercept. And he
oh,
didn't
gosh.
tackle Dom Young in the last line of defence.
Oh, okay. Sorry, mate.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
I definitely think he's still in the best, the best form fullbacks this year
Poorly.
alone. Yes. Yeah, I know you love him, mate. We all do. But yeah, they all make mistakes, but he's been the best player that we've got this year so far. Galvin, the next 2 to 4 years, going to be a beast. He only copped so much because of the circumstances. He ended up at the greatest team of all. That's right. That's it.
That's right.
Your logo, boys. It's disappointed yesterday. I got to say something, guys. I don't know if anybody's listening from the Bulldogs. What happened to our kennel sign, guys? Where's the kennel sign? What's going on there? You had all of these new logos on all these things, and you created some new stuff, which was great. But we're missing our sign that says we're in the kennel. What's going on there? I bet you the Rabbitohs will have their burrow next week.
That's it.
So not sure what's happening there, but everything else was printed. So let's have a look. And look, guys, if we did happen to have a fullback that was going to be a better option than Connor Tracy, let's say hypothetically a Chinese dinner brought Buller to the club by some miracle. For me, the next man up, Tracy would still be there. I would have him in place of, for example, Montoya or something. So he would still be in my team. So whatever, even if it's one of our fullbacks coming through the ranks that steps up, Ty Cochran, whoever it might be, Tracy for me is still good enough to be in our team. Still a great 110% player. Every game, every effort he does. So don't need to have Critter or anyone else at the moment move there. So it's we need to just work on our other aspects of our game and keep being better and keep developing these new skills and the combinations. That's going to take time, but it's working in the right direction, guys. We've already had 2 great wins. The defense, even though we conceded 24 yesterday, the defense was still what kept us in that game. Otherwise, we would have been blown off the park and it would have been a lot worse by halftime.
We're scrambling our hearts out.
Yeah, we got into a rhythm yesterday when it was 4-0 and they had the ball. I felt like they couldn't score. Even when they kept getting their kicks, kept finding the in-goal area, they kept getting a repeat set. I still felt like they weren't going to score. It was just hope that we could turn that around and get that possession back and then at least get some points up the other side. But first half, it didn't happen. So, but it is what it is. Before yesterday's match, I saw a few of the players walk past, including Dykes and Woods. Yeah, and look, and testament to those guys that played at Belmore. We saw Finalatu at the game as well, guys. They all came after the game at Belmore to support the team. You gave Woodsy a bit of encouragement and took some time Friday. It was good catching up with you as well yesterday, Timmy. Thanks for coming over a few times to say hello. Andy Tuala did play very well. Obviously, he's pumped against his old team, but he is a very, very good player and he's in form. It's just a shame that they were all heavily marked and he didn't get much opportunity to show his speed. Random question: is Hasem still part of the club? I never see him on anything. He was my favourite. Look, I can give you a short answer to that. Hasem is involved with the club as they require him. That's the bottom line. So when Hasem is required, they will still call him and he makes himself available. However, it has been sort of on the lower end for them. They haven't used him as much.
I'll give my perception of that.
Sure.
I think this is one of the realities of when your name gets dragged through the mud, whether it's especially when it's a lie. We hear stuff on the news or whatever, it just carries forever, see? Because someone discredited his name, big businesses and clubs, they distance themselves. All that organisation's now no longer running the club. However, so I think Hasem will get more and more hopefully introduced, and the more we ask questions about it and ask for it, I think the club will warm to it as well, because the sort of the new breed of club management and that have When did that happen? That stupid incident. What year was that, Gas?
Oh, it was within the last sort of 10 years.
Yeah.
Probably.
It was
Yeah.
before 2020 though, wasn't it? It was before
Yes. Yes.
It was before Warburton and Gus
Correct.
coming back and all that.
Correct.
And that look, and Haslam's a proud guy and he's out in the community. He's doing great things still for people. He's obviously he was a full-time ambassador when all that shit went down, and it ruined that for him.
If
That
was
woman,
for the NRL, yeah.
Yeah, his work, yeah. So that woman actually ruined his whole career with those false allegations, proven to be false lies. But we don't hear about that, see, because everyone's already made up their mind, see. But I think most Bulldogs fans don't believe it anyway, and they shouldn't because it was a lie. So he deserves to be involved.
And for those who don't know, the allegations that were made, and you know how people can say, oh, there's always two sides to a story. Haslam was smart enough to record his phone. So there wasn't two sides to the story, guys. There was one side to the story. And as soon as that recording was played, he was exonerated straight away. It was they showed that whatever the other side did, and I'm not condoning or saying it's always the case for men against women, but what I'm saying is on this instance, it was a very clear that what actually did transpire was fabricated to hurt him, and he was exonerated straight away, which basically means there was no charge, there was nothing. And the only issue, though, was by the time that this all came out and the recording and everything was proven, because it was he was already let go by all of the people that were associated with him, rather than even listen to him or give him an ear and say, hey, what's happening here? Is this even true? They just cut him off, which was extremely disappointing, guys. So from Haslam's perspective, I really hope the club and the team can reinvigorate, get that relationship going. He's an amazing ambassador for the club. I mean, they used him the other day. They called him up and said they needed him for the Leagues Club when they were in Vegas. So he was happy to go there and do his guest appearance and do whatever he has to do. And this new club needs to really get behind, this Hall of Fame Bulldog player who's absolutely, one of the best that we've ever got as a player overall when you consider everything he's ever done. It's just disappointing that he hasn't been able to get sort of reintroduced into the club the way that he was before these allegations, which were completely false, came out. So very disappointing from that side, but there's still always opportunities for the club to redeem themselves and put him back where he belongs, and will stay for hopefully a long time.
James, it's 4 rounds in, and as we've said a lot in this, if people don't understand fitness and development in the early parts of seasons, when we had to, that game's wedged in between what we had to do to win in Vegas, what we then had to do to go to Canberra and win. It was always a trap game. We're not there. A couple of injuries to some important players would have made a huge difference to us yesterday. And that's going to dip their confidence as well. Look, I know they're missing Ponga and they're missing Brown. At the same time, Ponga's been a part of sides that we've beaten in the last 3 years and had nothing. And the same with Brown for Para. So I think whilst they are very good players and worth $2.8 million to the Knight salary cap, I think that also changes the mindset of the Dogs when they go out there as well a little bit. It's just one of those things. Upsets and ambushes happen. They happen all the time. Did anyone think West were going to go to New Zealand in a sold-out stadium? Great supporters of Wars. Win, lose, or draw. War mania. And, well, they're better fans than us. They are. Yeah, they question things in their side. They question their coach. They play a similar style to we play, and they got their pants pulled down by a team that really had a crack without Luai in their side. They had no reason to win. but they won. They've had 3 wooden spoons and struggled to finish 12th last year or whatever they got, 15th or 14th, 12th. Yeah. Anyone who says Galvin effect on this channel, see you later. Just letting you know. But, yeah, give O'Brien a chance, man. And as I said, the reason he got to coach in the first place and got his side to 4 final series, yeah, I believe that the club had set him up with a fairly good roster at the time. But he can coach. Is he going to be an NRL first grade grand final winning coach? Probably not. But I think as an assistant, he's proven with 2 grand final wins that he knows how to get in a team's attack going, and that's going to take time to adjust to as well. Not just the youth in our spine, but the whole team. It's going to take time. And last year, it doesn't matter what we did last year. It's got no relevance to what we're doing at the start of this season. No relevance at all. That's only for 24 hours media people and news people to be able to talk about stuff. Historical stats. I talk about historical stats. They're just historical stats. They mean nothing. Sometimes, just like Bellamy winning every game on the first round has nothing to do with the statistic in itself. It's just they win round 1. They prepare in a way which, make them play Penrith round 1 every year, see if they win. They probably will. Hopefully in the future. Yeah.
We can develop some speedy wingers, which we're getting, guys. We've got some good guys coming through that'll play some, give us some more opportunities in attack. Also Nicholas, feel like disallowed 2 tries, maybe 2 more. Could have made the difference, could have changed momentum early, but these things happen, unfortunately. And just following up on Hazard, the NRL should have apologised and reinstated him, quick to stand him down. That's not right. Bring him back full-time. He's a club legend. 100%, mate. Couldn't agree more. 100% agree. Yeah, it's always the way. 100% agree with it being a long year. Let's hope we look back on this loss, something as a turning point for the season. 100%.
Play this one now, Brian. 100%, Brian.
Mate, Ahmed is saying that Cowboys beat the Storm 100%. Thank you, Ahmed. Ahmed was another guy that used to play with Hazem or Masri as well.
Oh, g'day, Ahmed.
Ahmed is a legendary touch footy player for anyone who knows. He's done it all. He's currently recovering from a bad Achilles second one. He's an absolute legend in that sport, but an absolute doggy through and through, and always there in the doldrums of the Bulldogs, and always the voice of reason on there, guys. So welcome, mate. Glad to get to see your support.
Go to Brian.
What's Brian doing? Brian, let's
Next
go.
one. Newcastle usually a better team without Ponga's emphasis on the team, and everyone's effort goes up. Time will tell. Yeah, I've said this a lot. Sometimes I felt under O'Brien, Ponga would be out, and then the team would sort of like have this lack of confidence for a couple of weeks, where they'd still try and play, do low percentage things to try and make things work. Then they all just get down and get gritty, simplify things, go back to a structure of, trying to defend their way to victory and execute a couple of plays and that sort of stuff. And they would do that. They get upsets. They get wins. I've seen it with lots of teams. We were missing Crichton in 2024. We went and played a different type of game. We played expansive, and the Broncos didn't see it coming, and we ambushed them. But if we go and do that every day, we'd be way too lateral. We were lateral that game. They just didn't expect it because we'd been so direct and structured in what we did. It was great to see. It was a great day, and the Broncos were down a little bit, and They just got all their players back, had their best side on the park all season. They were a bit underdone. They thought they were going to win, and we pulled their fucking pants down and ruined their whole season. And we haven't beaten them again since. So, look, this happens. I've said it about Payne Huss and Tino, for example, two of the greatest forwards in the competition. When they don't play, their team wins as much as it does when they do play. That's a fact. That's a fact. I will say, though, Huss plays through a lot more injury than Tino's been able to. And I rate him great player.
Though. That was a tough one. Tino had an ACL, though, so that was a tough one.
Yeah.
That put him out for 12 months.
But the 80 games he's played, they've actually got a...
Correct, yeah.
They've lost more games with him playing than when he hasn't played. So it's
correct, yeah.
He's a great player, 100%. But sometimes when you're missing your leader and your best player, teams actually work harder for each other and do their roles a lot more and play with a little bit less pressure as well, because they don't have that. Their mindset is we've got to earn everything to win, and it changes things. And I think that's been the Bulldogs for the last couple of years, right? And yesterday, the first two games, it hasn't changed. We've got to earn everything. This is what I said in the preview. We've got to earn everything we do. And I said, anyone going to a call who thinks that we're just going to get an easy victory, as much as I'd love to see it happen and want that to happen, I think you're going to be mildly disappointed. If I'm a betting man, was I betting on Newcastle yesterday? No friggin' way. But to be honest, I was never betting on that game. Nor would I have been betting on the Raiders game. So we got the Raiders win, probably where, as Gas said, we lose that game in a close game, we probably walk away feeling the same. Or well, we would have felt worse, but it wouldn't have been a big surprise. We come here against the Knights, maybe we get a win with a different mindset, different desperation. I just feel that there was desperation at times yesterday, but there was times where Critter doesn't miss tackles like that normally. Yeah. He did yesterday. He's human. He's allowed to have a bad game or a bad part of a game. And there's Timmy's comment next.
Hasm is a legend and would love to see him back at the club. Yeah, Timmy, you're not alone there. Johnny Jack, welcome, mate. You guys talk a lot of sense, mate. More than welcome. Happy for you to join. And thank you all for jumping on today on a Sunday. All of us would have been a bit disappointed yesterday and slept limited hours. But it's good to sort of put it all out there today, guys. Have a talk about it. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and get ourselves ready for the next week, because that's the beauty of sport, guys. There's always another game to come. So there's always next week. So we get roughed up, we come out and we start again, and we deliver a good result, hopefully. Scary. Hi, all. Rough game to watch yesterday. We can't win them all. I agree with Sarah that the boys were a little off without the ball. Yeah, look, we have covered that, obviously. We have covered that, but yeah, look, definitely, the coaching staff would have been watching that game. They would have been watching the efforts of the players and what they were doing, and that's why Ciro made those comments that he did. And when he was pressed on him, what did he say? He goes, "No, I don't want to give it away for our opponents coming up," which is fair enough. So I don't know. You probably don't. We probably don't need to play the press conference today. I think it's pretty straightforward, guys. Press conference. We've spoken about it a few times, but yeah, I think they know exactly where they need to work and get ready. But next week is going to be the closest thing that you'll get to a sort of a grand final, semi-final crowd on a Good Friday. So the boys will be up for it, and our history in the last sort of couple of years on those big moment games, we've delivered more times than we haven't. So expect a big turnaround and something to bring us all back and give us some positivity, guys.
Yep.
Timmy, what do you got, mate? We dust ourselves off, go again. You'll be there with your mum and friend who supports Dragons and Swans. No worries, Timmy. Yeah, mate, I think that should be all right. We'll get everyone ready to go and watch the Raiders game and Sharks game, guys. But, yeah, I think you got anything else, mate? I think I'm all good.
All right, guys. And Timmy said that Ciro will be on 100% footy tomorrow night. Obviously, I want to get in front of the narratives that are going to be out there that unfortunately I feel through his press conference he hasn't helped with. But that's all right. Ciro's got a plan. He knows what he's doing. And if that means we lose players we want to keep, so be it. These coaches, Gus, everyone, they're going to do a lot of good things. They're going to get your – but our stocks are rising, people. They take dips along the way. That's the way it goes. You don't just get it because you want it. You know, I want me XRP to go to $20 a share. I know that it's the right thing. Right now it's at $2 or $1.90 or something. It'll get there. Probably a bad thing to talk about. But anyway, Scary. Well, Scary's got faith in Ciro and his plan. South will be very rough game after a bye, and they always give us hell on Good Friday. Yeah, Souths have no fear against us. Wayne Bennett's teams have no fear. He hates the Bulldogs. He's always seen the Bulldogs as the team that you've got to beat. You got to beat them with discipline. You got to beat them with execution, and you got to beat them by working as hard as they do. He's always based that Canterbury were the team that the Broncos beat last in the competition, people. There's been no side. The only side that's come into a comp and beat us on the first time that they played us was the Warriors. Every other team that's joined out this competition through history has lost to the Bulldogs first up. And the Broncos couldn't beat us until, I think, 1990. It took them 3.5 years to beat us. And they were going better than us at different points. So I know from I've read Bennett's book and stuff. You know, he doesn't give too much away as far as what he adores. But I think the Bulldogs in our history, in our club, and our DNA is present right now. There's a few areas where it can evolve and improve, 100%. But we just need to get out there and support our team when they're down, not just when they're up. And I say that to all these bloody content creators who want to sit there and get cheap clicks from being outraged like we are. We can do that if you want. Do you want us just to sit there and carry on like fools and have a big whinge and forget that the club's been just as good to them as they've been to our club? Go with the wins and the losses. It's all right to sit there and criticise the team. I've criticised the team's passing the last 2 weeks. I've criticised a couple of different decisions. But in the scheme of things, it changes nothing for me. It is a pleasure to wear this hat, to wear this merch. I'm part of a club. I'm part of a community. I'm supporting the club that produced Steve Mortimer, Terry Lamb, and Hazem El Masri, our latest inductee to the Hall of Fame, Stephen Folkes, that it's brought in Jacob Preston and Lachlan Galvin and brought back Jacob Carraz. I'm proud of that club. Win, lose, or draw, because every win's hard in this game. And all these people expecting that they can just, criticise the side to make them win, it's not going to change the reality. We may never win a grand final ever again. I believe we will, but reality sometimes is a lot harder than that. But I do know that this club will continue to go out there. That team wasn't abysmal yesterday. They just weren't as good as the opposition. They tried hard. They tried to win. The coach tried to do things that didn't play off. The players tried to do things that didn't pay off. They tried. And as long as they go out there and try for us, they're going to get my support and hopefully get your support as well. Instead of allowing people to come in and fucking try and have the club sack everyone and sack the coach, sack this, blah, 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 blah. When's that ever worked? What club has sacked their coach mid-season or any coach mid-season and won a comp or done remotely better to be honest. No club, actually. No clubs improve when sacking a coach. Most clubs who sack their halves don't win a comp either. Just think about that or get close to it.
Brian's got, for a bit of constructive thought, his only change would be Critter and Tuala. I think Kicks is too much of a dominant player to have Critter outside, hence need him getting the ball more. Go the Doggies.
That's a good idea. Good idea.
Congratulations, Mick, on achieving your goals with the March on Charity. Thanks, fellas. Go the Doggies. So
200 kilometres.
That's just this month alone, guys.
I walked to Kokoda and back.
No, Timmy, don't say that. We don't want Sutton on Good Friday, mate. We missed Harry Hayes badly. What a great player. Yeah, he's an effort player. He
100% of me.
For us that not everyone sees. If Penrith can do it, can't the Bulldogs do it? We'll get there. Yep. Remember the 5-year plan Gus had when he was there? It took a bit longer, but you got to have faith in the system, guys. You got to keep pushing along. We're on track, guys. We're on track to at least give ourselves that chance. So from where we were a couple of years ago to where we are now, at least we're having discussions about a loss when we do have a loss, rather than that's all we talk about. So it's all on the way up. Something for Good Friday is a different for the NRL. No, I hope not. Brian, don't support Timmy. Leave him alone. Don't encourage him. Yep, another congratulations to you, Mick. So
thank you. And thank you to everyone who donated and supported through super chats and everything else that's all gone into it. You've
smashed your
bought
target.
Gas. You bought Gas a microphone. You've bought Gas a nice training shirt. I've been working at this for thousands of hours to get to a point where people are now, giving us a bit of thanks financially and a bit of help. We 100% appreciate it. And we're going to keep Tuesday. We've already got some money in the bank to get another draw on the way. So if people want to contribute or help us out more, we've got a new Alex joined today, a new member. So really appreciate that. And as Gaz said, we have parents of players who have joined this channel and have subscribed and are helping out financially and doing stuff. Doesn't mean their kids don't deserve to be criticised or whatever, but keep it in your pants, all right? Talk about it constructively. A good way to say something is, I hope that player for our chances of winning the comp can develop a bit faster for us. So what's that going to take? It takes time. It takes time. We just have to admit that. Those who want to talk about us from the point of view of winning the comp can criticise us all they want. I talk about us from the point of view of being on a journey to getting our players where they need to go, right? And that's it. And I think there's about 7 or 8 players, potential superstars within our system right now, and some that haven't even had their 14th birthday, that will be a part of our long-term future. The Casey McLeans, all these young kids, when this Penrith thing started, they weren't even Harold Matts yet, right? The seeds of today should have been planted 20 years ago. We're 20 years behind where we needed to be a force in this competition. And the fact that we're even in the conversation with people, I actually feel it a privilege in a way to be criticised by some ex-players like the blokes in a bar and all that sort of stuff who want to talk about us as contenders because they love Serrato. They do. They like the system. They like the work ethic of the Dogs. They're talking about our attack from the point of view of winning grand finals, not from the point of view of the reality, which we're on a journey and we're still on it. And people can say what they want and say that's just an excuse to give Gus and that time so that they get paid their $1 million or whatever it is. No, it's a fact. He went to Penrith, which already had the biggest junior system, and got them, and he borrowed $10 million or $20 million. He pleaded for that from Kerry Packer, I'm pretty sure, to get that club going again. Bought the right type of players to get them in the frame, then had to bring those kids through and just manage that team with legends leaving the club, players, people, players that the fans loved had to leave that club for it to go to its next level. In the end, Gus himself had to leave for it to go to the next level. That doesn't mean he can't learn from it, because he knows our system, he knows our fans, he knows our junior base, he knows what it needs. And if they know deep in here that they've got players ready to come in, there's got to be a spot for them somewhere, right? But you don't dent their confidence by just throwing them straight into the deep end. We've got enough experience and the right players and the right mentality to keep us being hard to beat. That's it, guys. If they go there, they could have given up at 16-0. They got us back into the game and gave us an opportunity to win. We didn't get it, but they didn't give up. And that's all that fucking matters. You never give up, ever. And when they do that, that's when we start to go, okay, what's got to change? If they start giving up, what's got to change? If it's not players leaving the club, then it's the next step. But they're nowhere near that. They have belief in the plan. They have belief in the system. And they're going to go. And they all believe they can win a comp. And that's all that matters to them. So get behind the boys and stop tearing them down.
Brian's helped you out there, mate. Thank you, Brian.
Oh, beautiful, Brian. That leaves us with $24 to make for our next draw, brother, and you're in it.
And for all of those who are winners in that lead up to Vegas, that week that we went live, once we get the signatures from all those players, so just be patient with that one. Don't come at us yet. As soon as I get those signatures, I'll work out with you to get your flags out to you. Okay, so be patient. Good things take time. So let the players get into their rhythm, but we'll get them in time. Don't worry, guys. Let's get pumped for the Easter Clash. The Dogs are back. Don't you worry. 100% Andy. All seriousness, the boys are out for the match against South. I like this comment. Amir, thank you, mate. Sick of hearing Karaz play choppy. He made a great post contact, made some wonderful offloads, got us in front, then that set up for better. Look, guys, he's even still playing injured. So, he's trying to control. It's very easy for everyone to say, look, if anyone who plays sport, you go out and you think, I'm feeling underdone, I'm injured, I'm just going to take it easy. When you're in that competitive, you just can't do it. Your body takes over and you just go hard. That's where us people who don't train usually tear a lot of stuff trying that. Yep. But he still pushed and tried, even though he knows he's a little bit underdone with his injury. He's trying to protect himself. But yeah, you got to give it to them for still trying, guys. One thing, sick of hearing and seeing people blaming Galvin. The amount of crap people put up on Galvin on Ciro's press conference yesterday is disgusting. 100% scary. And you think, 100%, mate, his stats and what he did, the effort he did yesterday, the fact that he's our fittest player, like I mentioned earlier, and just kept coming the whole game. At times, he was, like I said, he was there when others weren't even with him. He tried hard. He tried to look, guys. People were commenting about Galvin to Preston. He needs to go out. He went and worked on it during the week. He started being, and at times when he really couldn't hit Preston, he was still went out the back. So that's going to be the development that eyes up footy. He's going to be learning.
He didn't just throw the ball. He just he took the tackle and had a run and asked a couple of questions. Go watch earlier I know you come on late, Scary, so go watch earlier in the podcast. You'll see a lot of our stuff on Galvin. And let's just go to Jazz, who's a great supporter of ours and a big Waz fan.
G'day, Jazz.
Thank you so much, mate. Sarah Critter and Gus will be a premiership winning combination. 100% agree. Aki's up next.
Aki, what have you got, mate? Thanks a lot for the jersey, guys. That was a gift from Aki to his dad, sitting right there. Thank you. Dara, mate, get ourselves ready for Friday, mate. We'll be out there.
And Gas, we also trust. There you go.
Thanks, Brian. That's
it,
mate.
Do, brother.
We're getting there. Mick has my info, and I'm not stressed. My flag will turn up. Don't worry, mate. I'll sort you out, mate. Don't worry. I've got your details too. It's all ready to go.
Beautiful.
And Nicholas
Oh,
Kane.
thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you, sir.
And if you want to join the channel, Nicholas, you'll also be in the draw. Make sure you come back Tuesday night. Oh, thank you so much, Gary. So look, we're only $8 away now from hitting. We're on $42 for the next draw, and that'll be done on Tuesday. Even if we get the $8 right now, we're going to draw it on Tuesday, guys.
Yes.
Because I'm not set up for it. But thank you so much, brother. Big appreciation to you and you as well, Nicholas. Look, Sunday afternoon, go enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Look forward to the Dogs next week. Win, lose, or draw, it'll be a good game, I'm sure of it. Let's go, people.
Thank you, guys. Have a good week, guys.
Yeah, go watch Cronulla and Canberra. Oh, thanks for joining, bro. So members also have 2 opportunities anytime they super chat. So there you go.
There you go, guys.
Brilliant. All right, my friends and families and everybody else, haters, lovers, and everyone else in between. Big thank you to you all. I'm going to go out and do another 5Ks right now and then see what happens for the rest of the afternoon. Welcome to the community, Nick. Big welcome to you, brother. And welcome to everyone who's joined and keep sticking around in our community. We get stronger the bigger we get.
That's it, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you to you, Timmy. Always great to see you, mate. And even better to see you, Gas. You make this a much more attractive thing for people to look at. I can tell you that much right now. So
I think it's time to go now when you get into that comment. Let's go, guys. Go, Oscar.
Yeah, go Oscar. I'm going to watch that on when I go for me walk. All right, see you, people. Go the Dogs.
Guys. Go the Doggies.
You too, Jazz. Great to see you, buddy.
Yo, what up, guys? Want to give a massive shout out to All Things Bulldogs. If you guys haven't watched their podcast, check them out. Let's go.
Hey guys, Tuesday nights, All Things Bulldogs podcast. Make sure you get onto it. Go the Doggies.